Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 21 updates and spoilers. Our house guests of the day are Kayla, Kelly O'Grady, and Kelsey Canning. Ladies, thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate it, and we could not do this without you, so thank you so much. Hope you're enjoying this season. Thank you again so much. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. So when we left off yesterday, the house guests were waiting around for nominations, and what do you know? They happened. So as planned, Jackson nominated Christy and Jess for eviction, and excuse me, that was disgusting. They knew that they were going up because Jackson told them ahead of time, and he told Christy that she's not the target, but he did not say that to Jess. And yeah, just to confirm with you guys, Jess is really Jackson's target. Oh my god! So after the ceremony was over, Jess is like, okay, so now what? Like, now what do we do? So Christy says, now we go back to our regularly scheduled program of doing nothing. So they're all sitting around or standing around BSing. They're wondering if there's going to be any more rewards or punishments coming their way. And Cliff says, whoa, Holly's the only one who hasn't had any punishments yet. And Nicole, Marie, Anthony, Francis, Anthony, I don't know, she has like a million names. She comes in with the most epic zing. So she says, well, Holly's in a showmance with Mickey, so that's punishment enough. Hey! So they're all cracking up about it, but you know that Holly's gonna be thinking about this later because she is always thinking about how America's perceiving her. Blah. So a little later, Nicole, Jackson, and Holly were chatting in the HOH room, and Jackson is telling them how his pre-nominations chat went with Jess because they didn't get to talk to him before nominations about it. So he's like, oh, she took it better than I thought she would, but it definitely confirmed that I made the right move in winning this competition and targeting her, because he says that Jess said there's only one person that Jackson will not be able to beat in the final two. And he thought she was talking about Cliff. So he's like, oh yeah, I had to win this to protect the four because I knew that she was going to go after Cliff. I had to do this. That's not who she was talking about. She confirmed in a later conversation with Nicole that she was talking about Tommy. She says if Tommy makes it to the end, he's going to have Jack's vote, he's going to have Sis's vote, he's going to have Nick's vote. So yeah, he'd be really tough to go up against. But she is not willing to name names, so people are assuming that she's saying things that she's not, and maybe she would have a better chance to stay this week if she dropped Tommy's name. I don't know, maybe not. But she's not willing to do that. That's kind of lame, right? Especially at this point in the game. So I have a question for you guys. Why during this like entire conversation was Jackson playing with his peen in front of Holly and Nicole? He's got his hand deep into his pants. There is some clear movement happening there. What the F? What are you doing? Why is no one calling him out on that? Oh my god. So then they start talking about fun segments that they think they've been a part of on the show, like Jackson's Jacksonisms and Nicole and Jackson in the Pie Wars, Nicole with the clowns, all that stuff. Them talking about their families, blah blah blah. So Holly is kind of ticked off and annoyed because she's saying, I talked about Jackson's family in the diary room, but they've never asked me to talk about my own family when I won HOH, so she's pretty annoyed about that. So then Jackson's like, why didn't you want to talk about my mom? Blah, blah, blah. So Jackson and Holly start bickering back and forth, and they're talking about whose zing was worse. Holly's like, they called me old. And he's like, yeah, they called you old. They freaking attacked my upbringing. So Jackson's like, why are you so annoyed with me? And Holly says, I'm annoyed that I haven't had the opportunity to talk about my stuff. They didn't even ask me about the song that I wrote. She says nobody cared. So the song that she's talking about, I mentioned it last week. She was writing this song. She worked on it for weeks and she finally performed it last week. And it was basically just like little shout outs to everyone in the cast and whatever. It was kind of like cringy, but they all seemed to enjoy it. So she was hoping that was gonna be featured on the show, but then the diary room never asked her about it. Ugh. So Holly is saying that she wants to start a little talk show on the feeds. It's gonna be Hot Takes with Halls. And she says this will be a chance for America to get to know them on her terms. It's some straight up propaganda. She says she's realizing more and more that what's put out there by Big Brother, like on the show, may not be what the house guests want out there. What do you not understand about live feeds? She really does not seem to have a good concept of how the live feeds work. It's kind of basically 24/7. I mean, obviously, the feeds go down during competitions and stuff and when Big Brother's hiding things from us. But for the most part, I think we get a pretty good sense of who these people are on the feeds. I mean, obviously, they're on a game show and they're under a lot of stress and pressure, so they probably do a lot of things that they would not do in the real world. But at the same time, we get to see a lot of who they actually are. So she doesn't seem to get that, but she wants to use these talk shows to allow people to talk about themselves and say what they want to say about themselves and say what makes them tick. So basically, she wants Instagram in the house. You know, she's gonna be able to show people what she wants to show about herself to everyone. So she's like, yeah, I just want to do a Q&A with each person. And Jackson's like, yeah, I don't want America to hear conversations that get down to my core and like for me to say what makes me tick. Oh boy. He says, I'm not just talking about crazy party stories that I don't want getting out there, but I don't want people to know why I am the way that I am. Okay then, so Nicole's like, I like the idea. So Holly says she wants to start it that night and she's gonna ask Cliff when he thinks most people will be watching the feeds because she wants as many people as possible to see this. She is going on a full publicity tour right now, full PR, public relations. She's gotta clean some stuff up. So Jackson says, well, don't do it on a Friday night if you want a lot of people to watch. Because people are going to be out doing other things. Also, it's Labor Day weekend. So like this whole weekend basically is shot. And Holly is getting annoyed that he keeps telling her to wait. Because apparently they talked about this the other day too. I think it was like campaign day or something, Wednesday. And Jackson was like, not a good idea. So he keeps like pushing it back more and more. So Jackson says, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you suggestions. And Holly says, well, I want to do this while I'm still in the house. So things are getting a little tense with Jackson and Holly just snipping at each other here. So Nicole makes her exit. Good idea. And then once she's gone, Jackson and Holly keep arguing a bit. He thinks that she's being snippy. She thinks that he's being condescending. And Holly says she's worried that on the show she's just the old girl and boring and a snooze fest. Okay, so start saying and doing interesting things. I don't know. Meanwhile, Christy and Jess are having their own little pity party in the RV room. And they actually called it a pity party. So I'm not even just saying that. So Christy says she is so over being on the block at this point. She's been on the block for basically a month now. And she says it sucks even more this time because they are up against each other. And even if one wins veto, the other one's gonna go. She says Jackson did this on purpose because he knows how tight we are and he wants to make sure one of us goes. And Jess says, I don't think so. Really? Why not? Makes perfect sense to me. So anyway, Christy says Jackson probably doesn't even care which one of us goes, but she figures that she is the target because Jackson was targeting her 2 weeks ago when he was HOH before. Now, Jackson has told Christy that she's the pawn this week. I don't know if she's just covering in front of Jess or if she's like unsure if that's actually true or not. Because, I mean, would it be really that much of a stretch if Jackson was just saying that she's the pawn, but she's actually the target? Okay. So, anyway, Christy says she can't even be mad at Jackson because he's playing a sick game. She's just frustrated because she feels like nobody else has a chance against him. Alright, maybe should have gotten him out before. I don't know. Alright, so Christy says that she's pretty sure that Jackson and Holly are working with Cliff and Nicole as a 4. You think? They've won HOH back to back to back, and they haven't been going after Cliff or Nicole, and they're, you know, having conversations with just the 4 of them. I think that's a pretty good indication that they may be working together. So Christy says she doesn't even feel like campaigning this week because it's pointless. Cliff, Nicole, and Holly are just gonna vote however Jackson tells them to. So what's the point? Okay, so then Christy says she's still hoping that one of them is gonna win the power veto so they'll at least have a chance for somebody else to go up and out. So Tommy joins them, and Christy asks Jess, how do you feel? Because she's been talking a lot. So she's like, how do you feel about all this? And Jess says, I'm not mad at anyone except for myself. And she starts crying. She says, it's not about the money for me. I'm trying to prove to myself that I can do things that I've never seen someone like myself do on the show before. And Christy says, well, you're doing a great job representing, you know, you've done that. That's great. I mean, you still have more to give, but you're doing a really good job so far. So Jess says, I've been fighting since day one. I never had a real alliance. Cliff's Angels? Was that not real? She's saying she never actually had Kat with her. She feels like she's always been an afterthought. You know, she was never invited to join any of those big alliances or anything. I have to say, Jess has discarded the people who actually wanted to work with her. Remember when Kat was evicted and Jess just pushed Nicole and Cliff away? She still could have been working with them, but she decided to turn to Sis and Christy. And she would throw Nicole under the bus at the drop of a hat. So, I don't know. There's a weird dynamic going on there. And it seems like Jess kind of just expected everyone to approach her with different alliances with no effort on her end, which is not realistic. I mean, every once in a while that does happen. Like, look at Sis. Why was she invited to join all those alliances when she contributed like nothing? Absolutely nothing. So, I mean, it does happen, but you can't expect all these people to want to work with you when you're not doing anything to help them. So, Christy and Tommy were trying to comfort Jess. Yeah, let's move on. So, you know things are slow in the house when Big Brother gives them alcohol the night before the power veto competition. They like never do that. But they gave them a bottle of wine and 8 beers. And because this never happens, Jess is insisting that they're not going to have a veto competition tomorrow because they got booze. She says it's even in the rule book that there's no alcohol the night before a power veto. There's going to be a power veto. Okay, so Holly is freaking disgusted watching Jackson shotgunning beers, acting like a frat boy, telling all these stories from college. Cliff was teaching everyone some like Texas A&M yells, because apparently they have like rehearsals for these yells that they do, and they're like individualized for each opponent or something. I don't know. Sure, why not? Okay, so then Jess was talking to Nicole in the bathroom area. I think Jess was a little tipsy at this point. More crying from her. And she says she feels like she's been played by people that she cares about. And Nicole's like, wait, what? Am I one of those? And Jess says, what? Okay, so she feels that Nicole has given her half information sometimes. She's not telling her the full truth. So Nicole's like, why? What did I do? What do you want to ask me? Ask me anything and I'll answer it. So Jess says, everyone's always telling me different things. I don't know who or what to believe. So she kind of backtracks and she's like, I don't want you to think that I don't trust you. But you know, it's me, it's not you, it's me. So then she starts going through like her whole game and how she felt, and people weren't talking to her and blah blah blah. I don't know. It was like, it felt like listening to nonsense. I just couldn't do it. Bleh. All right, meanwhile, Holly was venting to Tommy and Christy. She does not want to be known only for her showmance. She says, I don't want to be the old girl who dated the 24-year-old pompous douchebag. Oof! Woo! She says, Jackson has so many things that make him relevant on the show. He's got like the watermelon thing, he's always working out, he's got his Jacksonisms, blah blah blah. I just have the showmance, you know. Whenever I go in the diary room, they're asking me about Jackson or about what other people are doing, not what I'm doing. She says, they never asked me about the song that I wrote. She's really hung up on that song. So Tommy and Christy were like, oh, this song was amazing, we loved it, you put so much work into it. So Holly says she came on this show to inspire girls, and she hasn't done that yet. She feels like she was cast just to be in a showmance. Nobody said you had to follow through with that. But anyway, she's upset, and she says that she's been told that she's not funny. She's talking about the people in the diary room telling her, you're not funny, we're not using your DR lines, you're gonna have to say what we tell you because this is not good enough. And I believe this was happening after Zingbot, when they were doing like their comebacks at Zingbot and stuff. So she was pretty upset about that. But Big Brother kept telling her during this whole rant, you need to stop talking about production, stop talking about your diary room sessions, clip. But she was pissed. So then she says that she is super conservative outside of the house, and she's not like the kind of girl that you meet at a bar and bring home. And she feels like she's not the kind of girl that Jackson probably normally dates. And Tommy's like, yeah, that's why he likes you so much. But Holly just can't take all of the frat boy stories, Jackson talking about them freaking doing it. She says, stop dragging me into your douchiness. Okay, so then Tommy's like, don't worry, we still have time to make an impression on America. We still have time left. Okay, so later, it was cold as ice up in that HOH room. Woo! With Jackson and Holly. There was no talking going on between them. It was really, really awkward. And then eventually, Jackson asks her, are you okay? So they talk through things. She's, you know, telling him how she's conservative outside of the house and she's like way outside of her comfort zone. And she didn't want to like be having sex on the live feeds. But she says that's in the past. It's already happened, like there's no taking it back. She says, I don't regret it, because remember what happened last time she brought it up? He like freaked out and tried to break up with her. So she's like, I don't regret it, but I'm just letting you know I'm way outside of my comfort zone already. And you know, it bothers me when you're doing all this frat boy stuff. So they talk through things. I guess they're okay for now. Okay, so then this morning, they had the POV player pick. And everyone is playing except for Holly. Whoa! So Nicole finally gets to play. She's very excited about that. Everyone's excited for her. So some of the house guests were studying the faces on the memory wall, just in case it's the face morph competition. They want to prep for that. Some people were looking for hiding spots, just in case it's hide and go veto. And Holly is in a bad mood today. She says that Jackson's ignoring her. So apparently that conversation did not fix everything. She also is upset that she didn't get picked to play in the power veto. She says, I never get picked to play. I only got to play before because I was HOH. When? Let Nicole have her moment. But anyway, the feeds went down pretty early today for the power veto. It was around 11 a.m. So that leads me to believe it's going to be some sort of individually timed thing, or hide and go veto is a definite possibility. So we'll see what happens. It's already been several hours now, so if you guys want to check back later, I'll post the winner in the info box below. Let me know in the comments who you guys are rooting for to win the veto. Yeah, we'll see what happens. So let me know what you think, and until next time, much love.